everyone. Thanks for joining me again. This is Tim Laskus, and you're listening to The Tim Laskus Show, and this is episode 90. Can you believe it? I didn't think I would get past 10 episodes, and now I'm on 90. And today's guest is Donny Emler Jr. of FMF Racing. If you know anything about motocross or racing, enduro or GNCC or just riding out in the woods, you've seen their exhaust pipes. You've seen their stickers on the back of cars, on motorcycles, on bicycles, people just put them everywhere because it is super cool to have an FMF sticker on anything that you own. You could have a piece of crap motorcycle and you slap a sticker on the fender that says FMF, it's automatically cool. The cool factor goes right up. And in fact, if you want to increase the value of your bike, when you're selling on Craigslist, throw a couple of FMF stickers on there, and you get a couple $100 more for that thing. Hey, but anyway, Donny Emler Jr. is a fantastic guest. He's just super cool. He likes to surf. He still goes out there and rides, hits the track. But we did talk about how when we fall, as we're older, man, we don't bounce. We just it's like shock waves go through our bodies. And I feel like every bone in my body, when I crash now, it just starts to ache. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing? But anyway, we had a great time talking about him growing up with his dad, Donny Emler Sr., who started the company back in 1973 out of his garage. His father used to race, and then he's the smart guy. He transitioned into business, said, I will supply you guys product and you go out and race and I'm going to make money. And that's what he said, and that's what he's done, and he's just been crushing it. And so Donny went from sweeping floors, talking about junior now, sweeping floors and putting stickers on the silencers to now running the marketing department, and he's just growing this business and doing a fantastic job. And after you listen to this episode, head on over to fmfracing.com and pick up your an exhaust if you have a motorcycle. If you don't, get a shirt, get a sticker, get a hat, get something, because it will make you cool. So anyway, I hope all of you enjoy. So here it is.
The Tim Laskus Show, in search of entrepreneurial gold. Tim digs deep into the minds of his guests, entertaining, down to earth, and informative. Now, here's your host, Tim Laskus.
Glad to be a part of it. This is going to be pretty cool for sure.
Yeah. Hey, now what do you do out there in California, sunny California, when you're not working hard? What do you like to do for fun?
When I'm not working hard, yeah, I think I'm just sitting in traffic the whole time. To and from work, I think I literally spend so much of my life in traffic, which is kind of the ups and downs of California lifestyle. But, the weather's great. We got the beach real close by, and for me, it's definitely where my heart is. But I love traveling. I get to do a lot of that with my job at FMF Racing. And, I ride dirt bikes for fun is what I try to do.
Now, are you keeping it on two wheels, or you're not bouncing off the ground, are you?
No, I try not to. Not too often for sure. Knock on wood, but I'm getting a little older, so you definitely look at things a little differently. People say, your perspective changes when you hit, a certain age, and mine's kind of starting to, where I'm like, I don't feel the same after I hit the ground, so I got to maybe just try not to.
Absolutely, for sure. I know I don't bounce as much. When I hit the ground and fall off, I'm laying there and I'm like, oh my God, it just sends a shockwave through my whole body, and I'm like, damn, that hurt. It did something small that, back in the day, it used to just get up and brush it off and keep on going. But
totally.
Anyway, Donny, tell the listeners a little bit about FMF and how it got started with your father.
Yeah, so, it's a really cool story. In 1973, he actually started the brand, but he was racing prior to that. Just in Southern California, it was a really cool time back then where you could really ride, multiple tracks throughout the week. They had a lot of night racing going on. It was just kind of the cool thing to do. And so that's kind of what he grew up doing. And he always just loved tinkering on his motorcycles and making them faster. People started seeing that when he was out at the track that, his bikes were flying. And that kind of sparked, what his brand would now become, which would be the Flying Machine Factory. And then, a lot of local pros such as Marty Smith and guys like Danny Laporte started really, wanting to work with my dad. And it actually got to the point where my dad just stopped racing and building bikes that these guys could race, and then splitting the money with them when they would win the pro purse. And that would be kind of like his contribution to them, to give them a bike that could go out there and win and help build their name up. And then, at the same time, it's our business interest for him, and it basically got the Flying Machine Factory, which is now known as FMF Racing, up and running. And here we are almost 45 years later. And, it's pretty remarkable to see where the brand's come, where it started. I mean, when I was a kid, I'm 36 now, and, I can remember far back as my dad having just a single unit building, probably about 3,000 or 4,000 square foot, and he was actually living in it. He built a mezzanine just because he was such a diehard at wanting to just push the envelope and work as hard as possible. And, the great thing is he still is that same mindset, and that's one of the reasons why the company is still doing so successful. And we manufacture everything right here in Southern California under one roof. So we do everything from roll our own titanium tubing to, all the stamping processes. So yeah, it's pretty neat to see just in the time I've been around to see where the brand has come and where it's at now.
Well, you're a true diehard American company, and you do not ship anything out. Everything is done in-house, and I think a lot of people really appreciate that. And when did you become involved in the company?
I've been running around the shop since I was a little kid. I mean, that's kind of how I got the name Little D, because me and my dad have the same name. And, people would see me, skateboarding through the warehouse, or, putting stickers on silencers. And, so I've always kind of, somewhat been involved and learning a little bit of the, of the business side. And then, really took it, seriously, after I graduated high school, when I was going to college, and, really just wanted to work full time. It's, getting to play with dirt bikes doesn't really feel like work. So I figured, heck, that's the best route to try to go and be able to have fun and work and, build a name up for myself and help, push the envelope for the company along the way. And, so that's been about 18 years now. So it's been a neat thing to learn. It's one of those things, you can learn a lot by going to school and stuff, but it's just different when you're in the trenches and you're actually doing it and learning from your mistakes right off the bat and figuring out how to be craftier than your competition. And that's what I really enjoy is just thinking outside the box a little bit and having fun with the company. And I think overall it's when people put an FMF sticker on their car or truck or wear that classic oval on their t-shirt, they're proud to show that that means that they ride motorcycles, and they want our brand does that for them. It shows people that, hey, I ride, like that's what I do for fun, so that's really the neat thing to me that I get to witness daily is just I guess the passion that people have for throwing a leg over a motorcycle and having fun with their family.
Well, you and your father have created such an iconic brand. I mean, it's almost like there's so many people that maybe don't even race or ride who will have an FMF sticker on their car or truck just because it's cool, and it's almost the same kind of with people having Fox stickers, on their car or truck. Yeah. And FMF is right there along with that. Now, what's your relationship like with your father? I grew up, my dad was a business owner, and I kind of was in there sweeping the floors and doing things like you were doing with your dad. And my dad used to scream at me all the time. I was always getting in trouble. What were things like with you and your father back in the day and today?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was pretty smooth. I was fairly, I guess, a good kid, and I listened. And, I'm sure there's definitely times where I was doing something wrong or putting a sticker on upside down or something. But for us now, it goes great. I mean, he trusts me to, make decisions with a pretty big, budget for marketing and being able to be out there and talking to, professional race teams or riders and getting them signed up on the brand. And, it's things like that he doesn't really have to worry about. I think that's nice for him to know that, everything that's supposed to be getting handled is handled. We sponsor probably the most racing events out of anyone in our industry. So it's a lot to keep up with, from off-road to supercross and motocross and amateur racing. And I've got a great team, and man, we get a lot of stuff done.
Now, where do you see the company going in 10 years?
Well, I we're really focusing right now on getting a little bit bigger globally. It's hard because we're not on the ground in certain places. A lot of people want a brand, and it's hard for them to get. So we got to do a better job at production. Really, is what it comes down to. So we can only produce so much in a day, or in a week, or in a month, and we know what our capacity is because we can only do so much. So we really got to figure out how to be more efficient and get new the next generation equipment that maybe can do stuff quicker. And so it's just a constant moving thing. You're always trying to figure out how to make little shortcuts here and there to not as far as the quality or anything like that, but there's definitely ways of things that you might think that that's the best way to do something or get the job done, but really there's maybe a better way out there. So we just got to kind of keep your mind open and not be so closed-minded and just kind of keep pushing forward. So I mean, for us, the next 10 years, I'd love to see the brand continue to skyrocket like it has been, and but ultimately we'd like to be able to produce more product that we can get to places. It's awesome to see. It's a great problem to have, I guess, when people want your product. You can't really produce enough to always get it there in time, but so whatever we can do to help out, that's what we're doing.
Now, what is the range of the products that you carry for people who are not familiar with FMF?
So FMF Racing is an exhaust manufacturer. So basically, we, someone will go out and buy a stock off-road motorcycle that's meant to be ridden in the dirt, and one of the first things that they take off is their stock exhaust pipe. It's heavy, it's not the best looking, it doesn't sound quite as good, and the performance is the main thing. So we really focus on those 4 areas, performance being number 1. So basically people put our product on their motorcycle to get a little bit more bolt-on horsepower. And, back in the day, it was all about what you can put on your bike to make it better. It's people that buy motorcycles are not like people that drive a car. Most people don't put rims and tires and stuff on their car. They just use it as a commuting vehicle. But, someone that buys a dirt bike, they like to add on things, make their bike lighter. It's part of the fun of, riding motorcycles is, you want your bike to look good. And so we're able to help them do that and save some weight and the performance and the sound and the look. And that's basically what we do. And we play with metal all day long.
Now, how is your 2-stroke sales going for those pipes? Have they picked up or dropped off, or where are they?
Well, they originally, dropped off. 4-stroke machine kind of took over. But, ever since then, we've just, always continued to advance our 2-stroke pipes. Now in the off-road world with companies like KTM and Husqvarna, and now, Yamaha even offering some stuff. I mean, it's doing really well. The 2-stroke market is strong. It's alive. I think people are, starting to see also that the cost of 4-strokes are getting just a little bit, outpriced out of their range, and you can go buy a 2-stroke and have just as much fun and be able to work on it. The 4-strokes, the problem is it's not an easy machine to work on if something goes wrong inside the motor. I mean, granted, these bikes are built so strong these days that the average guy shouldn't really have a problem with it. But, for racers and dads and things and people that want to, open up their cylinder and look in there and maybe put a new top end on like they did on their 2-stroke.
Right. Now, who do you look up to as a business leader? Is there anyone out there that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, there's some people in some, inside our world, there's some great action marketing specialists that do a really, really good job that I look up to. I mean, definitely I look up to the Fox brand and what that family has been able to do over the years, style and logo. And, so it's really neat to see that type of stuff. I mean, there's some definite people in some other industries that I like to see what else is going on in the action sports world, whether that's the surf industry, skate. I try to keep my eyes and ears open just to kind of see, what the economy is doing for these brands and what do they see working. It's always an evolution of learning because, now with social media and when everyone was so, doing print advertising and now it's, so web-based and social media driven, you just got to try to be at the forefront of these things when they're taking off. And we've fortunately been able to do fairly decent job, I feel like, in those areas. And yeah, I mean, definitely, look up to my dad and the people that have helped my dad over the years build the business. And yeah, it's been pretty phenomenal for sure.
Now that is so cool. And I believe from looking at social media, you have a son as well. Is that correct?
I do. We brought another little Emler into the world. He's almost 2, and he's currently running around and tearing up the house. And yeah, I joke around. I always tell people, if you thought the second generation was cool, wait till you see the third one.
Oh,
yeah.
So you're already grooming him.
Oh, for sure. It was really cool. My father just got inducted into the AMA Motorcycling Hall of Fame.
Excellent.
Not so much for his accomplishment on the bike, but for what he's done to help change and shape the industry, which is really a great honor. So we were in Ohio 2 weeks ago for that while he was getting inducted, and it was a really special moment for us. And we were able to have Ethan, his grandson, my son, there as well, to at least get in some photos, so later on in life he can look back and see that he got to go hang out with Grandpa. And yeah, so that was pretty special for sure.
Well, that's fantastic. So we have 3 generations of Emlers, and that's wonderful for your son to be able to to see your father and spend that time with him and bring him in up through the ranks and sweeping floors, I guess, like you did, and putting on stickers, and some maybe upside down as well. So you remember, you can't get mad if your son does that, because you did it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I'm able to get away with some stuff because everyone that's known my dad for a long time, like, oh, they've always got stories of stuff he's done with rental cars and stuff like that. So I figured growing up I couldn't get in that much trouble because, like you just said, hey, you did it, you didn't get yelled at. Well, maybe you did by a rental car company or something like that. But yeah, so I've got some things I carry in my back pocket just in case I need to pull them out ever of things other people in the industry have told me about Big D back in the day.
That's awesome. Well, Donny, this has been fantastic. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me. And I'm such a big fan of FMF and the motocross industry, and you guys are doing wonderful. And just thank you for all that you do for motocross. And yeah, thanks for your time.
I really appreciate you guys having me on. I hope the listeners enjoyed. Maybe they learned a little something. I learn every day. So it's cool that you're able to do a show like this where it kind of brings companies like FMF to the forefront of other businesses. So thank you.
Yeah, and before we go, where can people find you online, your website, and where on social media are you, Donny?
Yeah, please check us out at fmfracing.com, and then you can look at our social media accounts at FMF73. And then you can find us all there.
Awesome. Thank you, Donny, and have a great vacation. And yeah, hopefully we'll cross paths again sometime in the future.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Want more entrepreneurial tips? Go to timlaskus.com.